Hey, what's going on, guys? Tony here, CCxRC. Today we're going to roll on further down the road with the ZRD build. Today we're going to be looking at installing the transmission here, which I've already taken apart because we're going to put some of the CCxRC udder butter in there, waterproof grease. So I've already taken it apart, plus I've taken off this front little plate so that when we go to install the motor, we can get the mesh right. Screws are here in my little CCxRC mat, keeping everything as organized as I can, which is something new for me and something great. So this thing is all metal. We'll take it apart here, give you a quick look-see. I mean, look at that machining and the gears used. It is a thing of beauty. So we're just going to add a little bit of grease on here. I'm not one to overdo it. This is a brand new bottle of grease, and so we'll just go ahead and kind of coat this a little bit, get these all smeared up. Again, I'm not one to really go too thick with my grease. I'm going to get it on everything in here, bearings, pull these out so I can get to the inner gear here as well. Just kind of give it a coating. Some people really slob it on there. I mean, I'm going to be a little bit liberal, but not too bad. It'll all work itself around as well as they spin and slosh around in here. So go ahead and also hit this gear on the bottom. Hit these bearings, as well as these inner bearings. Make sure I just kind of get everything that I can. A little bit coated. All right. Slop this all back in here. So I made a little bit bigger mess than I had planned to. Always keep a paper towel handy. Clean off a bit here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this back up here. Make sure everything spins all right. Good. I'll wipe everything down when I'm done. For now, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble. All right, so these are metal screws going into a metal box. I'm just going to apply the smallest amount of thread lock to this and reassemble it just a little bit. I'm going to have to really look into here is the drive shafts. I've got a whole bunch of Traxxas parts to try and make center drive shafts because the one kit has a short and a long, and I think I've got like other drive shafts I can kind of build out. I went ahead and bought the ends that I need, and so I'm hoping that I can just makeshift some drive shafts out of the out drives instead of the center drive shaft kit. So we'll see. Once we get this all put together, we'll start looking at attaching it to the chassis once we get the motor mounted on it. And then we'll work on getting the ESC located where it's going to go. But before I do that, I'm going to have to solder some ends onto it, which I'm probably going to just do some XT60s for now, because that's what my Venom drive batteries have on them. But I may choose to go to XT90s later. We'll see how the power handles through the XT60. As you can see, this transmission makes it nice and easy to mount your motor in here. And so we're going to go ahead and get that set up before we move on. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put our Robinson Racing extra hard 5mm 18 tooth 32 pitch spur gear or pinion gear on here, sorry. And get this lined up ahead of time. Kind of find out what kind of gap we need as we push it through here. Pretty much it looks like it's going to sit pretty far back on there. So we might have to bring it out just a little bit for it to hit on that flat spot. That looks pretty good. So pretty much all the way back, all the way down is where we're going to be sitting on this thing. So this is going to use a 2mm hex. And I'm going to go ahead and, of course, put it in some Loctite, blue locker. And then we're going to thread it in here like so. You know what? I'm going to actually flip this around. I think we can probably get a closer fit this direction. So I'm going to test it right about here, going upside down. I think it's actually going to work better. Yeah, this way it's going to allow us to line it up a lot closer to where it needs to be. And not be sitting completely weird on there. Yeah, that's perfect. So we just kind of reverse the pinion on the motor, which happens a lot. I'm going to go ahead and just cinch it down one more time with our blue locker. And that kept it because we were going to be sitting on that kind of curved spot on the shaft, and that just would not be ideal in my opinion. 2.5mm hex wrench, and dab this in some Loctite. And get this thing lined up and should be good to go. These are not long enough, not even close. So I'm gonna have to look for something in my kit that's gonna work with that. Might actually let us get these leads going straight up, because it's a smaller screw size, thread size than what came with it. Just kind of get in there a little bit light. Just kind of get my mesh set up here. They're definitely too tight where I'm sitting at right now. So let's loosen it up and really cinch it down. There we go. So that is our transmission to be mounted. Wires are up top now. Hopefully that'll feed nice and clean up to our ESC. So we can go ahead and close up the gearbox part here, which is just 2 little screws. Again, just a very, very clean transmission that they've put together here for us. I really dig it. And these are really small 1.5mm hex screws. And they basically just hold this plate on to keep dirt and junk out. The next step is going to be to install this in here, which means a couple of things. First, I'm going to have to take out this battery tray so that I can get this in here. Then I have to see how this is even going to fit in here. What screws do we need for this? I'm mistaken, maybe there were. But I will go ahead and check my axial kit first to see if I have something that'll work. Alright, found a screw kit that I had from my Traxxas Stampede, and it has some screws that look like they're going to work. They're tapered as needed to fit into the mold here. So we're going to go ahead and just use these for now. I put this one to hold it in place. I'm going to back it out, and then I'm going to Loctite it before I put it back in. The next step here is removing these battery trays so that I can put the top screws in. Let's see if I can just remove one and twist it. That'd be awesome if I could do that. My hex wrench barely reaches. It looks like I might be able to twist it here. I just kind of lift this up and spin. All right, so that's what I'm gonna try and do here. There we go. Just kind of twisted it out of the way like that, and now I can see these top two holes that are in here for me to mount the top. See them in there? Those two little holes right there. We just kind of took one screw out and twisted this battery tray out of the way, and then we'll mount from the top here. Can we do it? Ah, looks like we can. Awesome. All right, there's one. There we go. All right, so now we're just gonna try and thread this screw back up through here. It's gonna be a little tough shot to get it up and in. There it goes. All right, that's snug. There it is. So we'll just have to tuck our motor wires up through this gap. It's nicely provided for us here. You should just slide right up in here like so. That way we'll be able to plug them into our ESC. Nice. So we go ahead and take our ESC in a minute, our Mamba X, Monster X, and it'll go up here and allow us to plug these cables direct in here. I'm just going to go ahead and throw some connectors on here. I think either Dean's or XT60. That seems kind of thick, so we'll see what we can get it on. And I'm going to do that off camera and bring it back up. Alright guys, before I get too far along here, I want to go ahead and mark my A, B, and C cables. And so I'm just going to mark them with stripes. For one for A, just with paint marker. B is going to get 2 stripes around, and C will get 3. That'll just help me when I need to unplug and plug in quickly on the fly. I will have them labeled, at least to how I know how they're labeled. Other people may not get my method here, but this is a censored system, and so I want to have these running in the right sequence. So there, I've got A, B, and C marked on these, so that when I put the ESC in here in just a minute, we'll be able to line those up based on A, B, C. And it's labeled here on the back of the motor. So I just want to make sure that those line up. Everybody's got their favorite kinds of servo tape. I've got this clear kind here, but I also like the double-sided Gorilla tape, like so, that's black and very durable as well. So I think I'm actually going to go with the Gorilla tape this time to install my ESC. 2 things on here of this. Go like so. There's a little excess here, trim off on the side, kind of like so. That's what we're gonna do. I'll bring our battery wire here to connect, easy enough. We can mount our on-off switch and have our other cables up here to go to our receiver, which is going to sit on top. and figure out what we're going to do with our on-off switch. I might bring that back down if I can. Find a place to mount it down here under the body. This labeling will come in handy for me. Trace these through here to the front, kind of push them through. He's going to get it tight in here in a minute. And it will hopefully help me put these in the right order. Plug in right there. Let's see, where did my number 1 go? Here's our number 1 cable, our A. Probably should work C over, because that way it'll come closer to me at the end. Again, I'm wondering now if I should have done this prior. To putting everything into this enclosed space. There goes one. This couldn't be in a more awkward spot to film either. Let's try to get these cables in and then try to slide them all the way down in with these needle nose once I get it basically over the hole. Try and help force it in. There it goes. Number 2. Probably could have done this smarter. Josh, or people that have already put these together are probably looking at me like, what are you doing? Alright. There is number 3. Alright, what I'm thinking with this power switch is I will take some double-sided tape and stick it on the back of here and just kind of put it in the side. That's my thought. Reaches here easily, so I've got a little bit of scraps already going. Little something like that. What next? Got to still make a body mount system, which is pretty much, I'm pretty sure is going to be some Velcro onto some pieces of plastic that are strapped onto the top here in the front that it will just sit on, that has Velcro. So that's probably my plan for mounting the body. Alright guys, so that's all we're going to get to tonight on this part of the build. Got the transmission installed, the motor, pinion, got some grease going in here, installed the ESC, put the XT60 connector on there, got that all ready and wired up so that we can now put a receiver on and then finish the drive shaft installation, which is going to require putting together this Traxxas eRevo kit or Emax kit of pieces in order to get the right yokes onto the drive shafts. And it's going to take a little bit of finagling, cutting down and stuff like that, but I think after that we'll be ready to fire her up and see how she's doing. So I'm getting really excited about the build and feel like it's coming together. So yeah, excited. Thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, have fun RC and we'll catch you next time.